Still tutoring kids for 20 bucks an hour, Kennedy? God, that's depressing. We all knew you'd never amount to anything, Jessica Hartwell announced across the country club banquet hall at our 20-year high school reunion, her voice pitched loud enough for the entire room to hear, while her clique of former cheerleaders erupted in laughter that echoed off the vaulted ceilings. In my pocket, my phone buzzed with a notification from my attorney. Congratulations. Final signatures complete. You are now the official owner of Riverside Academy and its 12-acre campus. Press release scheduled for Monday 9 a.m. What Jessica and her crew didn't know, what they'd discover in exactly 63 hours when the news broke, was that the struggling tutor they were mocking had just purchased our alma mater for $47 million cash, and their children, who all attended Riverside, would soon be dealing with some significant changes under new ownership. But let me rewind to explain how spectacularly perfect this moment was about to become. My name is Kennedy Sullivan, and 20 years ago I graduated from Riverside Academy, an exclusive private school in suburban Connecticut where tuition is $45,000 annually and the parking lot looks like a luxury car dealership. I was there on scholarship. The poor kid, the charity case, the one who didn't quite fit. Jessica Hartwell, Madison Crane, Brittany Ashford, they were the golden girls. Rich, popular, cruel in that particularly devastating way that teenage girls perfect. They made my life miserable for 4 years. Nice shoes, Kennedy. Are those from Payless? Why are you even here? This school is for people with futures. My dad says scholarship kids lower the school's standards. I survived by keeping my head down, studying obsessively, and tutoring other students for extra money. Math was my gift. I could solve complex equations in my head, see patterns others missed. By senior year, I was tutoring half the school, including Jessica, who needed my help to pass calculus. She never paid me. None of them did. They'd promise checks that never came, make excuses, eventually just stop acknowledging the debt. After graduation, I went to state college on another scholarship, worked 3 jobs, got a degree in computer science and mathematics, started tutoring again, this time college students, then adult professionals, then corporate executives who needed help with quantitative analysis. By 25, I'd built a tutoring company called Summit Learning. We specialized in corporate training, teaching executives data analysis, financial modeling, quantitative reasoning. I hired 50 tutors, built an online platform, and charged premium rates. By 30, Summit Learning had 200 employees and $15 million in annual revenue. We'd expanded into educational technology, software that personalized learning using AI and adaptive algorithms. By 35, we'd gone public. Summit Learning Inc. was valued at $340 million. My equity stake was worth approximately $156 million. By 38, last year, we'd been acquired by a major tech company for $890 million. My payout after taxes, $287 million. I still tutored occasionally. Not for money. I did it for free now. For underprivileged kids who reminded me of myself. But my former classmates didn't know any of this. They'd never asked. They'd just assumed I was still that poor scholarship kid struggling to make rent. Which brings us to the reunion. I almost didn't go. These weren't my people. These weren't memories I wanted to revisit. But curiosity got the better of me. I wanted to see who they'd become, if 20 years had taught them anything. I dressed simply. Jeans, blazer, no jewelry. Drove my old Honda Civic. I keep it for nostalgia, even though I own a Tesla and a Range Rover. Walked into the reunion looking exactly like they'd expect. Unmemorable, unremarkable, unchanged. The reaction was immediate. Oh my God, is that Kennedy Sullivan? I heard she never left Connecticut. Didn't she become a teacher or something? So sad. She had such potential. I smiled, got a drink, and wandered through conversations with people who'd either ignored me or tormented me 20 years ago. They were all too eager to talk about themselves. Madison was married to a hedge fund manager. We have a place in the Hamptons. You should visit sometime. Well, if you can afford it. Laugh. Brittany's husband was a surgeon. Private practice. Very exclusive clientele. What about you, Kennedy? Still doing the tutoring thing? I do some tutoring, yes. That's nice. I mean, not everyone can be ambitious, right? Some people are just helpers. Then Jessica arrived. She'd aged poorly. Too much sun, too much wine, the kind of hardness that comes from 38 years of entitlement. She was with her husband, Derek, a real estate developer who spent the first 10 minutes of every conversation explaining how rich he was. Kennedy Sullivan, Jessica air-kissed near my cheeks. Look at you. You look exactly the same. Thanks, I think. So catch us up. What have you been doing for 20 years? I run an education company. We do tutoring and educational software. Oh, how sweet. Like online tutoring? That's so entrepreneurial. Her voice dripped with condescension. Derek, Kennedy runs a tutoring business. Derek barely looked up from his phone. Cool. It must be nice having such flexible work, Madison chimed in. All that time off. Not like those of us with real careers. Must be, I agreed. Do you at least make decent money? Brittany asked. I mean, I know tutors don't make much, but maybe you've built it up to a respectable income. I do okay. That's wonderful. Good for you, bootstrapping like that. Jessica's smile was poisonous. You know, my daughter Scarlett goes to Riverside now. Isn't that amazing? Following in my footsteps. She's a junior. Madison's son is there too, Brittany added. And my twins. It's like our kids are reliving our glory days. Except better, Madison said, because our kids don't have to deal with… She gestured vaguely at me. You know, scholarship kids who don't fit in. The group laughed. Actually, Jessica continued, warming to her theme, Riverside has really elevated its admission standards. They're much more selective now about who gets financial aid. Can't have just anyone attending. Right, I said. Can't have just anyone. So what's the company called? Jessica asked. Your tutoring thing? Summit Learning. Summit Learning, she repeated. Never heard of it. Is it local? It's national. Oh, how ambitious. She said it like she was congratulating a child. Well, good luck with that. In this economy, small businesses really struggle. Derek's seen so many failures. Haven't you, honey? Derek grunted agreement. That's when Jessica delivered her coup de grace, the line she'd probably been preparing since she saw me walk in. Still tutoring kids for $20 an hour, Kennedy? God, that's depressing. We all knew you'd never amount to anything. Her clique erupted in laughter. Other people turned to look. I felt 20 years disappear. Suddenly, I was 18 again, poor and powerless, while they laughed at my shoes. Except I wasn't 18. And I wasn't powerless. My phone buzzed in my pocket, the notification from my attorney about the Riverside purchase. I smiled. Actually, I need to take this call. Excuse me. I walked outside to the terrace, where I could see the Connecticut hills rolling into darkness. I called my attorney, Marcus Webb. Marcus, it's done? Completely done. You now own Riverside Academy, the land, buildings, endowment, everything. Congratulations, Ms. Sullivan. You just became the owner of a $47 million educational institution. Perfect. The press release is ready for Monday? Yes. Tech entrepreneur Kennedy Sullivan purchases Riverside Academy, plans major transformation into STEM-focused campus. We're releasing it to all major media outlets at 9 a.m. And the enrollment changes? The new admissions policy prioritizes need-based scholarships and STEM achievement over legacy admissions and family wealth. Starting next academic year, 50% of slots will be reserved for underprivileged students with demonstrated aptitude in math and science. Which means that several current students whose families assumed their donations guaranteed enrollment won't be guaranteed anything. I smiled. Perfect. I hung up and stood there for a moment, looking at the country club where we were celebrating 20 years since graduation. 20 years since Jessica and her friends had made my life hell. 20 years since they'd decided I wasn't worth their respect. I walked back inside. Jessica was holding court, telling a story about her daughter's riding competitions. She saw me approach, and her smile sharpened. Kennedy, back so soon? Was it a big tutoring emergency? Some kid needs help with multiplication tables? More laughter. Actually, I said calmly, it was my attorney, finalizing some paperwork. Oh, how official. Jessica winked at Madison. What paperwork could a tutor need? Permission to use the school parking lot? I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and held it out. This paperwork. She squinted at the screen, reading. Her smile faltered, then disappeared. What is this? She asked. The deed transfer for Riverside Academy. As of this evening, I own the school. Silence spread across the room like a wave. Madison grabbed my phone. This can't be real. It's completely real. I purchased Riverside Academy from the Board of Trustees. The transaction closed about 10 minutes ago. Brittany's face had gone white. You bought the school? Our school? Technically, it's my school now. But yes, the one you all attended. The one your children currently attend. Derek finally looked up from his phone. How much did that cost? $47 million. Cash. He laughed. You don't have $47 million. I have considerably more than that. Summit Learning, my tutoring business, was acquired last year for $890 million. My payout was about $287 million after taxes. The room was completely silent now. Everyone was staring. You're lying, Jessica said, but her voice wavered. Am I? Marcus, you still there? I put the phone on speaker. I'm here, Ms. Sullivan. Can you confirm for my friends here that I just purchased Riverside Academy? Absolutely. Ms. Sullivan is now the sole owner of Riverside Academy and its 12-acre campus. The press release announcing the purchase and planned changes goes out Monday morning. I ended the call. Jessica was shaking her head. This is impossible. You were poor. You were nothing. I was poor, I agreed. I was also brilliant. While you were cheating off my calculus tests, yes, Jessica, I knew. I was building a future. While you were spending Daddy's money on designer handbags, I was coding educational software. While you were coasting on privilege, I was working. Madison found her voice. What plan changes? I'm transforming Riverside into a STEM-focused academy. New curriculum, new faculty, new admissions policies. What admissions policies? Brittany's voice was sharp. Starting next year, 50% of admission slots will be reserved for underprivileged students with demonstrated excellence in math and science. Students like I was, brilliant kids who can't afford $45,000 tuition, but deserve world-class education. You can't do that, Jessica said. What about legacy students? What about them? My daughter is a legacy. She has a right to attend Riverside. She has no rights. I own the school. I determine admissions. This is discrimination. Against rich people? I smiled. No, Jessica. This is evening the playing field. This is making sure that scholarship kids like me, the ones you called charity cases, get the opportunities they deserve. Derek stepped forward. You can't just kick out existing students. I'm not kicking anyone out. Current students can finish their time at Riverside under the old system. But new admissions will follow new policies, which means I looked at each of them. Your younger children might not get automatic admission anymore. They'll have to actually earn it. Madison's son was a junior. Brittany's twins were sophomores. They'd all assumed their younger kids would automatically follow. This is revenge, Madison said. You're doing this because we were mean to you in high school. No, I said calmly. I'm doing this because I believe talented kids deserve opportunities regardless of their parents' bank accounts. I'm doing this because education should be merit-based, not wealth-based. I'm doing this because I remember what it felt like to be the scholarship kid everyone dismissed. I looked directly at Jessica. But do you know what's really funny? You just called me a failure. You laughed at my tutoring business. You assumed I was still struggling because you couldn't imagine that I'd succeeded. And in 63 hours, the entire world is going to know that the failure from your high school just bought your kid's school and is transforming it to help kids like me. Jessica's face was scarlet. I'll sue. We'll all sue. You can't get away with this. Sue me for what? Buying a school legally? Changing admissions policies within my rights as owner? Go ahead. I have excellent lawyers. And Jessica? The $287 million in my bank account says I can outlast you in court until your grandchildren are applying to college. I picked up my drink. Now, if you'll excuse me, I should mingle. These are my fellow alumni, after all. And starting Monday, I'll be their children's principal. I walked away. Behind me, I heard frantic, whispered conversations, phones being pulled out, probably lawyers being called. The rest of the reunion was spectacular. Word spread fast. People who'd ignored me all night suddenly wanted to talk. People who'd been condescending suddenly remembered we'd been close in high school. I declined every attempt at conversation. I'd said what I needed to say. Monday morning, the press release dropped. By 9:30 a.m., it was on every major news site. Tech entrepreneur returns to transform elite school. Kennedy Sullivan, whose educational technology company sold for $890, purchases Riverside Academy and pledges to make it accessible to underprivileged STEM students. By noon, I'd done 3 interviews. Why did you buy your old school? Because I remember being the poor kid who didn't belong. I want to make sure brilliant students aren't excluded because their parents can't afford tuition. What about the current families? Some are upset about the changes. Change is uncomfortable for people who benefited from the old system. But education should be about merit and potential, not family wealth. By evening, the story had gone viral. Social media was divided, some calling me a hero, others calling me vindictive. I didn't care. The next week, I visited Riverside officially as the new owner, toured the facilities, met with teachers, announced scholarships for exceptional students, and I saw Jessica's daughter Scarlett in the hallway. She looked at me with her mother's eyes, assessing, judging, dismissing. "You're the new owner?" she asked. "I am." "My mom says you're doing this for revenge." "Your mom is wrong. I'm doing this because education changed my life. I want to give that chance to other students who wouldn't have it otherwise." She considered this. "Will I get to stay at Riverside?" "If you want to. Current students aren't affected." "What if I wasn't a legacy? What if I had to earn admission?" Interesting question. "Would you?" She thought about it. "I don't know. My grades are good but not great. I'm not special at anything." "Then maybe this is an opportunity to become special at something. Find what you're passionate about. Excel at it. Earn your place." She nodded slowly. "That's fair, I guess." Maybe she'd learn something her mother never did. Over the next year, we transformed Riverside. New STEM labs, coding boot camps, robotics competitions, and 50 brilliant students from underprivileged backgrounds, including 3 from the same neighborhood I'd grown up in. Jessica withdrew Scarlett from Riverside. "I won't have my daughter attending a school that's been ruined," she announced on Facebook. Madison's son stayed. Brittany's twins stayed. Their younger siblings would have to apply like everyone else when the time came. And every day, I walk through the hallways of the school where I once felt like I didn't belong, where mean girls made me feel small, where I learned that privilege and cruelty often go hand in hand. Now those hallways are filled with students who look like I did, brilliant, driven, hungry for opportunity. Students who'll change the world if given the chance. At the 20-year reunion, they called me the failure. They laughed at the tutor who never amounted to anything. 3 days later, I announced I'd bought their children's school and was transforming it to help kids they would have dismissed. They say success is the best revenge. But I'd argue that using your success to create opportunities for others, for the kids who remind you of your younger self, is better than revenge. It's justice. and it's just getting started.